Hey Juices, welcome back to Harley Throttle Juice. We're on a date night with the Slagers.
Double date?
Yeah, we're double dating.
Ooh.
We are off up the M1 to meet up with Matt and Marianne Slager, aka Hatui and Mrs. Anyway, enough of that shit. We wanted to address what I did, and Rochelle's getting roped into it. Rochelle's about to overtake this I-30, and it's going to be pretty dangerous because she's not the greatest driver.
Whatever. Learn how to drive properly.
Me or the I-30 driver?
The I-30 driver.
Anyway, we just wanted to address some of the rhetoric that's going around in the industry at the moment, re the new Harley-Davidson range. We watched, as we always do, Million Dollar Bogan's latest video, where he took the Road Glide ST, the 2022 Road Glide ST, out for a test ride. And before he actually exited Geelong Harley Davidson, he made some comments regarding what he thinks should be, which engine he believes should be in the CVO. Now, first of all, before we go on, Rochelle and I have been subscribed to Million Dollar Bogan for ages. And we love the channel. Watch every episode. Like everyone else, Danny does some stuff and says some stuff where we think, I don't quite agree with that, but it doesn't matter.
He has a good heart.
Yeah, great guy, and good heart. A lot of passion, love the channel. And we watch it all the time. So, before I get into this is not a rant against Danny at all. This is just identifying or observing something that Danny said on the recent episode, and this is just our 2 cents worth. It's not
your 2 cents worth. My
2 cents worth. It doesn't mean it's just our 2 cents, and it doesn't mean Danny's wrong. But specifically, I'll cut to the chase. Specifically, Danny was asking the Geelong Harley Davidson people whether they believe that the CVO should have 131s in them, because the Road Glide ST and the Street Glide ST and the Lowrider S and Lowrider ST all have 117s now. So the CVOs no longer have the biggest engine displacement.
It's not about the size, Roger.
Wow. Dodged a curveball there, sort of.
You didn't have to worry about that.
Anyway, so my 2 cents is that, it depends on the type of riding, obviously. It depends on the type of riding that you do and where you want to go and what you want to do with your bike. So my theory is, and this doesn't necessarily apply to people that have a bike that's at least 5 or 6 years old, because they're either fully paid off now or near enough to being paid off, and the money situation is not so big an issue. But if you've got a new or relatively new Harley Davidson, let's just say, for instance, if you've got a new or near new Road Glide Special or a Street Glide Special, like I do, right? So they've gone up $3,000 since I bought mine in 2020. But the 2022 specials retail at $42K. The Road Glide's a little bit more expensive, but call it $42K. If you're putting a 131 kit in one of those bikes, I've done a little bit of research, and it's going to cost you 10 to 12K to put that 131 kit in. That's dependent on the type of parts that you put in, the type of headers, the type of cam, where you get it from, did you get a deal, do you have a relationship with your dealership where they can cut you a deal as well and save you some money. But ballpark figure, my understanding is that it's 10 to 12K. Well, you throw that 10 to 12K on top of that 42, you're now paying $52,000, $54,000 for a bike. Maybe a little bit more. Granted, you've got a 131 Stage 4 kit in it. That's fantastic. You can rip the arse out of it. But in real terms, how often are you smirking at me? How often can you really cane that bike and get away with it?
Every time you ride it.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. There's cops everywhere. You can give it a great squirt here and there, and you're really going to enjoy it. I mean, I'd love to have one myself.
Yeah, but the fuel economy wouldn't be great.
The fuel economy wouldn't be great. But you might have a one. Will you stop going against my argument? No, you're going to have a hot bike, and you're obviously going to have immense power and a lot of fun riding that. But what you won't have, and I'll go back a few steps. So 50, 52, 54, 55K, you're now within 3 to 5K from the price of a brand new CVO, which is fine if the 131 kit is your priority. But if you've got a 131 kit in a new Harley Davidson, you've paid around about 55,000 now for that bike. What you don't have is a custom paint job, custom grips, custom floorboards, heated grips, custom dash gauges,
Awesome sound system.
custom tank design, custom badging, top-of-the-line sound system.
And that seat.
Rochelle's got a 6-speaker 900-watt sound system, but she's lucky because she's got the 2019 CVO Street Glide. After 2019, they stopped putting the lower fairings in, so you now only get 4 speakers, but it's still top-of-the-line sound system. The new ones have the Rockford Fosgate system in it. Custom seat, as Rochelle said. Custom vertical tail lights. Central locking in the panniers, please. For people that are like me that have issues with their back and hips, central locking, the doot-doot, instead of bending down on one knee like you're proposing.
Oh, honey.
You know, all of these things mean something. Pannier liner bags.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, Rochelle can literally reach into her pannier and pull out the custom Harley-Davidson pannier liner bags and just walk into a motel or walk into wherever. Now, a lot of you might be watching this and listening to this saying, big deal, I don't need or want any of that stuff or half of that stuff. It's pure, raw power for me. Okay, fair enough. But don't dismiss the argument and the people that want to buy a CVO or considering to buy a CVO, and instantaneously people will say, is that the right word to use for that content? I'm not sure. Chewie, help me out here.
Do you want to join the club?
But, you know, the people that buy CVOs don't buy, a very small percentage of them might buy the CVO or historically have because it's got the biggest engine displacement in the Harley-Davidson range, but a very, very small percentage. We all know that CVO owners buy CVOs because they fall in love with the look. All the other custom mods that come stock with them are a huge bonus, but you fall in love with the custom paint colour first. I mean, what your response when you bought yours? You were in there that day at Central Coast Harley looking for specials, and I was
looking at a screen, and then my screen turned.
There you
into
go.
a CVO.
Turned around and saw Stevie,
Because I had Ruby.
the 2019 CVO Street Glide, and bang, fell in love with it. Everything else fell into place. So, if you're after your raw power and your 131 kit, and you don't give a shit about custom colours and custom this and custom that, that's fine. But you've got to understand that the $58,000 you pay for a CVO gets you a lot of bike, a ton of bike. And further to that, don't forget it already has a 117 cubic motor with a stock cam, a stock torque cam in it. No, it's not as lumpy as the S&S 475, and it's nowhere near the same power as a 131, but look at everything else you're getting for it. Matt Laidlaw has said it many times about CVOs, where he says he sees a lot of people that buy a Street Glide Special or a Road Glide Special, and then within 2 years they put all these custom mods on it, ultimately they've paid a lot more than what it would have cost them to buy a CVO in the first place. So the 131 kits in the CVOs, whilst it would be great to have them in it, I don't think that you needed them in there for the CVO to represent great value. And even if you had one, guys, 131 owners, please, you know, how often are you tear-assing around and really taking full advantage of that motor? I mean, honestly, on a consistent basis.
I think the other side of that story, I think what Danny's saying is for the price you pay of a CVO,
Yeah.
it should have the top of the line. So it should have a bigger motor because it's a CVO.
Yeah.
Okay, CVO is like top of the line for
Yeah.
Harley Davidson, if anybody didn't know that. So with the new models coming out, the STs having the same motor as the CVO, it kind of flags the prestigeness of having that CVO. So I think that's where he's coming from.
Yeah, I appreciate that too, but I'll go back to my earlier points, and that is that, you know, Harley-Davidson have put the 117s in the Lowrider S, the Lowrider ST, and the Road Glide ST and Street Glide ST to entice people to buy them, to entice people that are in that sports bagger category and mentality to buy them, to give them a reason. They couldn't leave them as a 114 because the people that have that sports bagger mentality and want to tear ass around on their bikes, what would be the first thing coming out of their mouth? They'd be saying, well, I love the bike and I love the bronze accent in the ST range, but it's got the same motor as the Street Guide Special and Road Guide Special. So they had to go to a 117, but where the distinction, or where most of the distinction is all the custom stuff that is associated and comes stock with it with a CVO. Now again, I think that CVOs are overpriced, and so are the STs and the Specials by at least $2 or $3 grand. I think the CVOs are overpriced by at least $5 grand. But it is what it is. They are what they are, and you do get a lot of bang for buck.
You do.
I think you do. So I understand where you're coming from and where Danny's coming from. Danny wasn't having a rant. He just put the question out to the team, and he probably has strong feelings about it. He probably strongly believes that it should have a 131.
Well, he does spend a lot with Harley, just saying.
Well, I hope Harley one day recognise all of that and reach out to that guy. Because he's an unofficial Harley-Davidson ambassador. I don't care what anyone says.
He really rides them to the fullest and shows the potential of the bikes. And all those people that say they're tractors obviously haven't ridden one.
Yeah, we'll go and see what Danny's Road King Special does. Not a Road King Special. But go and see what that beast of a thing does. Anyway, enough rambling. Just our 2 cents worth. Well, you said it was just my 2. Well, hang on. You've added your, what, a 5 cents worth? No?
A penny farthing.
What's a penny farthing's a bike, darling?
Well, we are talking about bikes.
We are.
Peace out.
Yeah, peace out from Harley Throttle Juice. See you in the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.